Welcome to the Vikings Now. I am your host, Patrick Seatman. Thank you guys for joining us today. On today's show, we got 5 players that I think the Minnesota Vikings could trade away. Normally, we're doing trade candidates, people the Vikings could trade for. Today, we're doing players on the Vikings roster that I think could get shipped out. And hey, before we get started, I had my bosses in my ear again. I hate when they're always in my ear saying, hey, Patrick, I bet you Vikings fans can't get the 200 likes on today's video. And every single time I say, every single time you ask me to do this, they blow the like goal out of the water. Last video, we got 500 likes. Let's prove them wrong again. Like today's video, for I can get my bosses out of my ear saying, can Vikings fans even live up to expectations? Shut them up. Like today's video. Number 1 trade candidate for the Minnesota Vikings, Cam Dantzler. Cam Dantzler. This is Cam Dantzler is an interesting one here because, 1, how much trade value does he actually have? And 2, he's still kind of got that young potential and that lengthy corner that I really do like. Looking at his 2022 stats, he wasn't very good. I mean, on 51 targets, he let up 40 receptions. He only had 5 pass breakups. He had 0 interceptions, and he had 44 tackles, and he had a PFF grade of 64.7. And Luke Parrish, he does a great job covering the Vikings, and he broke down the kind of potential Cam Dantzler trade with this. Even with major questions at that position, the cornerback position for the Minnesota Vikings next season, Dantzler could be traded to make room for his replacement. He is set to just make under $3 million next season and has plenty of starting experience under his belt. So my kind of take on this is, number 1, I don't think Dantzler has that much trade value. I mean, realistically, what could you get? Like, if a contender calls your phone, how much do you think you could get? Honestly, I think it's a day 3 pick. And number 2, I think you're honestly better off just letting it ride with Dantzler. I mean, obviously, he's not going to be your corner 1 or 2 coming in the next season. But him as the cornerback number 3, I'm not really that opposed to it because he is a young talent, and I wouldn't be that upset at just saying, Dantzler, we know you've had an inconsistent start to your NFL season. Just ride it out. Let's see if you can develop. Because, listen, he is a young guy. He's 6'2". He's got great length. I love the way he kind of plays with an aggression. It just always seems like when it's those 50-50 balls with him, he just can never get that clutch pass breakup or that clutch interception. But I want to ask you guys this. How much do you trust Cameron Dantzler, and scale it 1 to 10? Trust level, like let's just say it's a 4th quarter game and you got Dantzler man-to-man on the other team's wide receiver 3. What's your trust level with that? Scale it 1 to 10. If that's the situation, I'm probably leaning at about a 4 or a 5 right now. Next Vikings trade candidate, we got interior linebacker Troy Dye. Troy Dye, he's had a slow start to his NFL career with the Vikes. He is an extremely undersized linebacker. He is skinny, and he does not wear gloves. Troy Dye is one of the more, weirder is a mean word to say about him, but when he's on the football field, I mean, he's only weighing 220, and he doesn't wear gloves. He's one of the weirder-looking football players out there, but he hasn't had that good of a start to his NFL career. Look at his career stats. Only 63 tackles, no forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and more of a coverage linebacker, he only really has 2 pass breakups. And Luke Parrish, again, he mentioned on the Troy Dye trade rumors, he said Dye is a slender linebacker that thrives in coverage, which is something that has become more desirable around the NFL. Personally, I would prefer the Vikings to go out and find his replacement in the draft, and I kind of agree. And I also do think it is Brian Asamoah season at linebacker. Brian Asamoah, if you're talking about you're building your defense around a guy, and with Brian Flores, the aggressive nature that he just naturally coaches that side of the football with, Brian Asamoah is going to have a great year. Trade Troy Dye out of there. Have it all be about Asamoah. Cut Eric Hendricks. Cut Jordan Hicks. Get those old, slow linebackers out of here, and let's have it all be about Brian Asamoah. Third trade candidate I have on today's video is edge rusher DJ Wonnum. DJ Wonnum, he's had a okay start to his NFL season or NFL career. He really popped in year 2, which was great to see. But besides that, he hasn't really done much. This past year, he was kind of a disappointment. But his career numbers, 109 tackles, 15 sacks through 3 seasons, forced fumbles, he's had 3, and he's had 17 tackles for loss. DJ Wonnum, not too good against the run, and he's kind of been shaky as a pass rusher this past season. And again, Luke Parrish on the DJ Wonnum trade rumors said Wonnum took a step back last season with this Darius Smith taking over the starting job, but still, there are better players in rotation. Patrick Jones, the second, made tremendous strides in his second NFL season. And I think Patrick Jones, he could be the future, honestly, at the edge position. If we do cut Darius Smith and keep Danielle Hunter, I think it could be Jones and Hunter as the start. But a little prediction that I'm making right now, Kwesi, last year he drafted his guys and a lot of them got hurt. He wasn't really able to see Kwesi's draft class kind of being put to full effect. I expect with whether it's cuts, trades, or just drafting their replacements, expect Kwesi Adolfo-Mensa to move off of a bunch of Rick Spielman players and a bunch of that Mike Zimmer, Rick Spielman era where we are really going to see a completely new Vikings 53-man roster. Number 4 on my list of potential Vikings trade candidates, it's a big name. It's Danielle Hunter, one of my favorite Vikings players of all times, and I hate putting his name on this list because honestly, if you're looking at his career numbers right now, he is one of the more productive edge rushers in NFL history in his shorter career in the NFL. 378 tackles, 71 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, and 85 tackles for loss. And the reason this would hurt me, honestly, is he was always that one guy when the Vikings were when they were talking about kind of pop players. You know, every year there's like that breakout star. I remember his rookie year, I was talking to my dad. I was like, this Danielle Hunter guy, just looking at him, he is going to be fantastic. Ended up working out. But I do know the Cleveland Browns do need an edge rusher to kind of pair up next to Myles Garrett with Jadeveon Clowney leaving. And I kind of got in the lab with our Browns Report host here, Matthew Peterson, and we cooked up a potential trade. The Vikings don't have a second-round pick this year. So the Vikings would receive the Browns' second-round pick, 43rd overall. The Browns would receive Danielle Hunter and a fifth-round pick. Danielle Hunter, he's already missed 2 seasons due to injury. Honestly, I don't hate this trade as much as I thought I would for the Vikes, because if you get that 43rd overall pick, you can do a lot with that. You can go corner, quarterback, whatever you don't do in round 1, you can just do that in round 2, and especially with the Vikes not having a second-round pick, this trade kind of entices me a little bit. But let me know, would you accept this trade? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me get your thoughts down in the comment section. Danielle Hunter for a second? Honestly, it doesn't seem too bad of a trade to me. Just let me know, would you accept this trade? Y for yes, N for no. Number 5, rounding out here, you know I was going to talk about him, Mr. Dalvin Cook, running back for the Minnesota Vikings. Dalvin Cook, production has gone down over the past couple of years, and we're just looking at yards per carry. You see it on your screen right now. 5.0, 2020, 2021, 4.7, 2022, 4.4. Dalvin Cook, he's taken a step back. I still think he's in that top 15, the top 20 running back range. But honestly, if you look at the cap numbers, he's going to be paid as the 6th highest running back in the NFL next season. I would just not bring him back on that contract. A little trade idea that actually me and Will Scott, host of Dolphins Today, cooked up. Xavier Howard, Dalvin Cook, straight up trade. Xavier, he's unhappy in Miami. Dalvin Cook might get cut in Minnesota. Vikings need a corner. Dolphins need a running back. Dalvin's from Miami. Xavier Howard used to play with Brian Flores. It honestly makes too much sense. There is so much kind of just connecting the dots here, is that Xavier Howard, Dalvin Cook, obviously financially we'll let the nerds figure that one out. But hey, Xavier Howard, Dalvin Cook, I like that trade straight up. I don't know about you guys. Let me know, though, if you would trade Dalvin Cook. Type T for trade or type P for pass. If you're cool with just keeping Dalvin Cook on the roster, paying him the money he's going to set to be made next season, just let me know. T for trade, P for pass. Let me know down in the comments section. Honorable mention here, Kirk Cousins. I didn't want to talk about this, but there's just so much talk on how the Vikings can trade Kirk Cousins and move on from him. So I came up with just 4 reasons why the Vikings could look to trade Kirk. Obviously, financially, the no trade clause, it's going to be tough to move him. But 4 reasons. Number 1, he's only going to become more expensive. With the cap going up, with him kind of slowly playing better, he's only going to get more expensive, and he's set to hit $35 million this next year. I think if he wants an extension, it might be in that $40 million range, and he hasn't shown me anything in the past that he's willing to make a pay cut. And he's getting up there in age. He's already 34. Obviously, we've seen Tom Brady play till he's 45, but I think most quarterbacks, they kind of start tapping out at that 38 to 39 range. I mean, we've already seen it with Rodgers this past year, and he's one of the greatest throwers of the football in NFL history. And personally, number 3, I think the championship window is with Justin Jefferson, and he's going to be entering his 4th year. So if you extend him and give him that big deal, I would rather have Jefferson be the one with the big deal on offense in comparison to Kirk. And also about Kirk, He's not going to change. I mean, Kirk's going to be the same guy. He's going to be the same guy that takes the check down on 4th and 8 in the playoffs against the New York Giants. He's going to be good enough to get you there. He's going to be good enough to win you 10, 12, 13 games even and win the NFC North. But is he good enough in those crunch time moments, those game-winning drives, when you need it? Is Kirk the guy to get it done? Track record has shown that he's not. So, number 4, Kirk isn't really going to change. So trade Kirk, obviously it is extremely unlikely because of his contract and the no-trade clause. But, hey, it is definitely fun to speculate. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Those are 5 trade candidates for the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, I think the Vikings are going to make a ton of moves. I think Kwesi is going to be moving off a lot of Rick Spielman draft picks. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, Skol Vikes.